Hi everyone, and welcome to my SAE video. SAE is diversified agricultural production, meaning I have to raise at least one livestock animal, in my case, goats, geese, and chickens, but I also have to produce at least one crop as well. That's why we have our berry patch where we have red currants, white currants, black currants, blackberries, more red currants, and raspberries. In the second row up here, we have 2 blueberry bushes. We also have 2 raspberry bushes. We have our mini orchard where we have our dwarf peach tree, our dwarf pear tree, and our pretty big apple tree. In addition to the berry patch and the miniature orchard, we also have a small vegetable garden where we produce a few different kinds of crops, including cabbage, broccoli, tomatoes, peppers, a variety of lettuce, beans, cucumbers, onions, beets, and carrots. The biggest goal for this SAE is to eventually become self-sufficient, as many call it. However, along this journey to self-sufficiency, I've also set myself smaller goals, or these SAE goals that we refer to. One of my SAE goals was to hatch and raise at least 1 gosling. Instead, I hatched and raised 3 of them, one of which will go to Margaret Brady, but nonetheless also have 2 left for flock protection. As I'm going to talk about in terms of challenges, one of the challenges is predation with hawks, and geese are very good flock guardians and are known to scare away these hawks from the chickens. Another one of my SAE goals was to produce at least 10 pounds of raspberries. However, I figured, why not go bigger? So I planted an additional bed of raspberry bushes. So here we have the ones that were planted last season. Here are the ones that I planted 2 weekends ago, 3 weekends ago. And so hopefully they'll be as nice and bushy as these come next year. This is Rosalinda, one of my most proficient egg chickens. One of my SAE goals was to collect at least 10 dozen eggs from my chickens here at home. However, I have heavily exceeded this goal due to the addition of new layer hens to the flock. I feel as though my SAE is very connected to my coursework in vet science, as I do have to be my own vet sort of sometimes, such as when Cream fell ill because he had a vitamin deficiency. I had to diagnose, I had to figure out what was wrong with him, and then I had to determine the proper course of treatment, which I determined to be Nutri-Drench and loose minerals. I've also had to treat sauerkraut in the chickens, bumblefoot with the chickens. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My biggest inspiration for this project would probably have to be my mom. She grew up on a farm as a child and inspired me to have a piece of the farm in my suburban backyard. So I guess she sort of showed me that I can have agriculture in such a suburban area. My favorite aspect of it all would probably have to be the new life, as in like hatching the birds. Hatching the chickens and the geese was probably my favorite experience of it all, and hopefully by next year I'll be able to deliver Coco's kids when they're born for next spring when she goes into milk. One of my biggest problems here is probably boundaries. Because I live in a suburban area, the property sizes aren't really that big, and farm animals don't tend to have a understanding of someone else's property. So they have no problem with going into my neighbor's yard and eating their grass or crossing over the rock wall into 2 neighbors away. But thankfully we have such great neighbors, and they enjoy seeing animals roaming through their yard, so we can let them go far to some point, but we can let them get over the rock wall and go into those neighbors' yards. One of the biggest challenges, and even bigger challenge than boundaries, is predation. I've lost many chickens and quail to cats and hawks, and I have had coyotes sniffing around the chicken coop as soon as we got the goats. So I feel I have to be very vigilant when it comes to letting out the animals to graze, to make sure that there's no low circling hawks or cats sneaking around. And at night I have to be especially vigilant to make sure that everything's locked up so that a coyote can't get in and kill the goats, or any animal for that matter. Another one of the biggest issues I face is legality, especially since I don't live in a rural community. I have faced issues in terms of the legality of keeping so many animals. However, after discussing it with the Zoning Board Commission of Stratford, I was approved under Special Case 6 in order to keep all of these animals here. Also, they're not classified as livestock animals with the town of Stratford. They're all classified as pets, which are all completely legal. It's a wording loophole, I guess. Like with any agricultural institution, some of the biggest responsibilities here are feeding and watering, and also making sure that the animals are let out every day to graze. However, in my opinion, the biggest responsibility that I face here is keeping everything clean and making sure that this whole backyard operation isn't an eyesore, because it's so close to other people's houses and everyone can see the garden and the chicken coop and all the other plants. I have to make sure that everything is clean and trimmed nicely so that neighbors don't complain, because I don't want to be facing any legal issues. I believe that my SAE has had an impact on my community, or more specifically my neighborhood, as it's proven to people that very urban agriculture is a possibility. I mean, I live on half an acre, so you can't get much more urban here in Stratford, but I can keep chickens, I can grow my own produce, soon enough I'm going to have my own milk. So I believe I've proved to my neighbors that that you can be self-sufficient on half an acre, and that you can have agriculture in such an urban setting. And I've had neighbors come up to me and ask me how I deal with all of this, and the answer is simple, just like anyone does in a rural neighborhood.